went to the horse races.
Yeah, what about it?
Well, after we left, I was wondering what the horses do when they're not racing. So I looked it up online and I found some really scary things that changed my opinion about it. I mean, from everything they say, it seems like really cruel.
Well, you can't believe everything you read.
I know that, but this stuff actually had facts and statistics to back it up. I mean, sure, going there was really fun and exciting, but have you ever thought about what happens to the horses after they go back to the barn? I mean, some of the facts are truly horrifying.
Of course I have, Savannah. I know about this stuff. The horses are treated just fine.
Sammy, just listen to this. In the U.S. alone, 5,000 horses enter the racing industry each year, and about the same number leave it. 800 horses die each year from injuries suffered on racetracks, and about 3,500 get injuries so bad that they can't even finish the race.
It's a good thing you brought that up. When I was younger, I remember that we had a retired racehorse that we used to go visit a lot. And most of the time, when the horses get injured and the injury can't heal correctly, they turn into riding ponies or given to families or programs that use horses for kids to play with and ride. Have you ever heard of Ride On?
I think I've heard of it, but I've never really looked into it.
Well, it's a therapeutic horsemanship program that uses old racehorses that were donated to them to help teach handicapped children and adults how to ride horses, and it gives you something fun to look forward to.
Wow, that's really cool. That's not what it said online though. Online it said that ex-racehorses were sent to sale yards. It said that 85% of horses are bought by knackeries and slaughterhouses at the sale yards for an average price of less than $400.
Well, what the heck is a sale yard or a knackery anyway?
Well, a knackery is a place where the horses are killed and processed for pet food. And then at a slaughterhouse, they just kill them for human consumption. Well, not in America, but in Japan and Italy and France, they do.
That's crazy. I don't even know if I can believe that.
Well, that's a good point. Since you know so much about this, what's a racehorse's typical day? I read they're left in their stalls to fend for themselves, like 22 hours of the day.
A typical day for the horses begins pretty early in the morning, usually before sunrise. That's when they get groomed, fed, and walked around the barn for a slight workout. From there, they're taken to the training track so they can do their morning exercises and run. After their morning workout, they're taken to the paddock area where they walk around to cool down, either by machine or a trainer's helper. If they are not running that day, they will be groomed and fed again, but if they are running, they're getting ready for the race.
Well, if horses are exercised too much, it can cause pulmonary bleeding, which is bleeding in the lungs. And from what the site online said, that happens a lot. It said 50% of racehorses have blood in their windpipe, and 90% have blood deeper in their lungs.
The workouts are well planned to make sure their muscles don't get too tense.
That reminds me, what about the whip? The sole purpose of the jockey's whip is to make the horses run faster, even when they're exhausted. Whipping the horses over and over inflicts physical and psychological pain on the horse. It also increases the likelihood of injury. That just cannot be justified. Section 9 of Victoria's Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act states, a person who overrides, overdrives, overworks, abuses, beats, worries, torments, or terrifies an animal commits an act of cruelty. You can just not overlook that.
Well, you're right about that. The horse racing industry is starting to make rules against the whip, though. They just recently made some in New York. The rule says you can't hit a horse on the head or the flanks or any other part of his body other than the shoulders or the hindquarters. You can't use a whip if the horse is clearly out of the race or has reached his best placing in the race.
Well, it's good that they at least started doing that. I mean, I guess there's positives and negatives to it.
Yeah.
Hey!